Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you all are tuning in to this broadcast. I am your international award winning author, literary extraordinaire, and awe inspiring coach, Tennille M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you to what is this? This is Educated and Empowered. Hold on. We got some people finna come in, but this is Educated and Empowered. All right, guys. So, welcome to a special edition of Educated and Empowered. As you all know, normally we air on Fridays with this segment. However, as I told you guys, I will not be broadcasting live, or if I am, it'll be live from the conference. And so, I wanted to use Wednesday to be my makeup day. And I have my special guest today, which is my daughter, Miss Autumn. Yes. Hello, Miss Alicia. As you guys are coming on, please feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how you're doing. But this is the parenting edition. So every first Friday, or as this is first week of the month, we do Educated Empowered Parenting Edition. Last month, if you all remember when we kicked off the segment, we had Jariah who joined us. And so this month is Autumn. And so you guys kind of get a pattern because this is officially birthday season for the Jackson House. And so every month, the girl whose birthday is that month will be the featured guest for the parenting edition. And so yesterday was your birthday. And you are a full 19. Like this time last year, you were also a guest on the show. Wasn't Educated and Empowered, but you were a guest on Inspirational Talk because we were launching the last book. We were launching book 8. So it has been a whole journey, a whole year. And so why don't you tell us, like, first of all, what has life been like for you from last year to this year? And then we'll talk about your birthday yesterday. So let's first just talk about your journey.
Well, I guess life was busier. No, I was about to say busy, but it was a different type of busy. Because last year I still was in school and I was doing track or whatever.
So high school, don't say school, but high school because you're still in school now.
But. Yeah, but it's different. So now I'm not in high school anymore. I'm a college freshman and I'm online with it. So it's a little more flexible when I work. So it's just a different busy.
Yeah, a different busy. So yeah, we know all about that. Different busy. So you're still a student, you're still working. So that's the same. So what makes it a different busy? Because like you did remote learning before. So and you're pretty much online learning. So like what makes it different for you?
Now it's more flexible. Like in high school, you got 7 classes. I only got 4, even though I'm a full-time student, I have 4 classes. So it's way easier for me to manage 4 versus 7 classes. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we are going to jump to the show, but before we do, yesterday you had a whole birthday.
Yes, I did.
So, like, I noticed as being your mom, I noticed that you seem to be a lot happier on your birthday yesterday than last year, or almost any of the other years. Yeah. Like, what made 19 different?
I don't know. Like, I hadn't been excited for my birthday in a long time. Like, I want to say since 15 was like the last year. I was kind of excited for my birthday, but I don't know, this year it had been a while since I seen my friends. I made new friends, so I was like more excited for it. Like, I don't know. So.
Well, that's what's up. It's always great when we can do something different and be introduced to different people, different experiences and things like that. And so I'm very happy for you. Like yesterday, I was so excited. Like everybody kept on telling me, tell her happy birthday. Tell her I say happy birthday. I'm like, well, whenever she get home, I will. So they all said, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, okay, on today's Educated and Empowered, I actually brought Autumn on not just to talk about like her stuff as an author and a college freshman, all of that, but I honestly brought her on because I wanted to get her perspective about this particular topic that I'm posing. So what I it's kind of like social justice, modern day social justice is really kind of the topic. If we had to put a topic to it, that's what it would be, modern day social justice. I was sharing with her how I am watching a docuseries on Netflix, and I will end up probably doing a show just about that docuseries, right? Just breaking down that show. But in either case, the point is, it really had just got me thinking because of the fact that nowadays, seemingly, our young people have so many more advantages than, say, my parents or even my grandparents. However, Instagram, you are not gonna do me, okay? But in either case, like it seems as though young people have more advantages than, like I said, either my parents or my grandparents did, right? But the reality, well, I don't know if that advantage is really an advantage. So meaning like my parents or my grandparents, I would say, were not able to vote. My grandparents, baby, just take it, because y'all killing me. Just take it out.
You just don't go
Just take it out. Yeah, go in there. Y'all, let me tell y'all, before I even go into this, let me tell y'all something.
Bye, cousin.
Let me tell y'all something. Anybody who is an entrepreneur, y'all gonna feel me right here. Now, this is totally unscripted because I got to vent real quick and I'm gonna come right back. Anybody who is an entrepreneur, this is just as real as it get for you, right? Like I tell y'all all the time, hey, Miss Shalonda, I tell y'all all the time, I try to keep it 100 with y'all all the time. A lot of times people see the different moves that I'm making. They like, girl, you doing it. Let me tell you, most of the time, y'all don't know the struggle that I got going on behind the scenes because that's not what comes out here. When I tell y'all, I've been doing it for the last few months. When I was on hiatus, like it was some adjusting and shifting happening, just within my situation. Let's just say that. And so when I came back to go back live, I was used to my setup being a particular thing in a particular place. But then because of the adjustment, they had to change, right? So it is just so difficult because I promise you, it's just like nobody will call you until you got to do something, right? And this is just in general. I ain't saying with me personally. You know how you always tell yourself, okay, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna wait until everybody go to sleep, because normally everybody go to sleep at 8 o'clock. So, and again, I'm saying as an example, I ain't talking about in our house. So as an example, if it's everybody always go to sleep at 8 o'clock, so I'm gonna wait till 8 o'clock to start working. Is that not the day that everybody wait until nobody ain't sleepy till midnight? So, hey, Miss Kanita, so now where you were planning on trying to work from 8 to midnight, now the whole house want to just be up until midnight. Or nobody watches TV until you want to come into that room. Now everybody was gonna watch TV. When I tell y'all the struggle is 100, that's why she laughing. 100. I'm being ebonically correct. It's 100% real. Like, I don't know that there is any entrepreneur that has it easier than others. Everybody has our own struggle. That's the thing. That's the lesson I want to get out to y'all. Like, but do it anyway. And I think the difference between do it anyway. Yeah, she did. She quoted that. And it's like, that's the thing that I want to put out there. We're going to get back to what today's show is, but I got to come back. Do it anyway. The difference, I think, between me and some entrepreneurs, I can't say most, is just the fact that I might just be frustrated or flustered with all the adjustments and changes and disruptions and interruptions, but I'm still going to do it anyway. Like if you guys tuned in, I think that was either yesterday or the day before yesterday's show, all of a sudden, when I was on my other set and my other set downstairs, like I never have any problems with internet. But for the first like 15 minutes on my line, for the first 15 minutes, the internet kept going in and out, in and out. It ain't never did that before.
Every day.
Never did that before. Some people would have got flustered and been like, you know what, whatever. I will say this, probably a couple years ago, I would have been some people. I would have got flustered and been like, whatever. But you know what? This is life, y'all. So I'm just being real. This is life. I don't care what happens. Life happens to everybody. Like a lot of times we feel like that this is part of interruptions I'm talking about. Distractions that you just got to keep on moving past. So a lot of times like we feel like that there are certain people that don't go through certain things, and my point in telling y'all this and being transparent is to show that everybody goes through something, right? Like my distraction and my interruption might not be yours, but we all encounter distractions and interruptions. If you got significant others, if you got kids, if you got a job, like a traditional job, it's going to always be something. But you guys have to be able to be focused enough to just push on through. So, like I say, for the most part, my house tries to work with me, and they will sit down for the most part and just be still during the time of my live. So that way it's not background noises. But sometimes, and today might be one of those days, that ain't the case. So guess what? If y'all hear stuff in the background, that's why. So look, let's go back. We getting people joining. As I come on, please say hello. Let me know that you are watching. If you have any questions, we're kind of talking about, if we have to put a topic to it again, the topic today is modern day social justice. And what I was saying was that when you look at what our young people go through today, my question is just, is it actually better or different than what we or our parents or grandparents endured, right? So Autumn was saying at the top of the show, she was kind of explaining, because this time last year she was on, but we were talking about the release of her book. And so I was asking her to kind of go through her year, what this year has been like. And so she termed it to say, it is different, but what'd you say? It's a different busy. And so my question is, being a young person today, what do you find to kind of be, and I don't just mean you specifically, you can talk on you specifically or just on behalf of young people, what seems to be the common struggle for young people? And you're 19 now, so whether you want to say 17 through 21, 22, whatever, for young people today, what seems to be the common struggle or a common struggle? Because you may have multiple.
Do it gotta be like something serious or
Whatever, just talk, just start talking.
I guess one common struggle could be like finding yourself during that time, because it's a lot like you learning yourself again, because you're not a kid but you're not technically adult. So your parents, they treat you different. Like they want you to be older, like act older and more responsible than a kid, but they're not gonna give you the full freedom of an adult either. So it's like that in between medium, I guess.
Okay, well, we can start there. That's fine. So we're talking about, we'll get to like the justice part, but in general, I think that is, because this is the parenting edition. So I think that is a struggle, right? I remember, now see, it's a little bit different for me, because when I was 19, I was living on my own. So I had moved out of my parents' house, and I had my own apartment. I was going to school full time. I was working full time. And I was living on my own, having to take care of myself. And so with you, you've opted, although you are going to school full time and you work part time, you've opted to stay home. And I don't know if it's just because of the fact that your college is in another state, but for you, why don't you say, like, because you were saying like the responsibility is different because of your, do you feel like that it would be different if you lived on your own, how we would treat you as being our child still, or do you think that it would still be like we would treat you as a child, you just didn't live with us?
I feel like the mama you would still treat me like a child, because I feel like to an extent you do that now still, but I don't know. I feel like I didn't move out because that's just an additional responsibility. Like I started working when I was 14, so I kind of already seen what adulthood would bring. Like that's bills, rent. You got to work the rest of your life. I'm like, I only get to be young there to 18. That ain't that much. I was already 14. I only got 4 more years, so just enjoy it. So right now, I still got the choice. Yeah, might as well enjoy not having the extra responsibility and help out still. Like, don't take advantage of it. Still help out when you can, but enjoy it.
See, that's wisdom. That's wisdom. Like, for me, it was a different reason why I chose to leave. Right. So my home life was not conducive. I'll say it like that. It was not conducive for me to stay, and so for me, that was why I chose to leave, because it was really protecting my peace, my sanity, and all of those things. But I think that it is great for you to realize, to say, you know what, I would rather stay home, even if I might not be able to have all the freedom that I would like to have, or that I know I would have if I didn't live home. But, because at the end of the day, life is all about pros and cons and balance, right? So it's never going to be one situation where everything is just 100% good. It's always going to be something that you have to deal with as a result of having that thing. So yes, you could move out, but excuse me, as you said, if you moved out, no, we may not know everything that you're doing, or we may not give you a curfew, but now you have to work more because now you got bills to pay.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
don't like working 8 to 12, so I like my 4 to 6 hours.
so, that's just a reality. Shalonda says that she still treats her 27-year-old like a child. She just got her own place and she's terrified. Shalonda, let me tell you something. She's online right now, but her school is in California. So like in 2 years, she's going to California. Guess who's going with her? I mean, I ain't saying I'm living there, but San Francisco gonna be familiar with this face, because look at here. Y'all get, this is precious cargo. So, we got to make sure you just, at the end of the day, you know what, it really, I feel that if you have a great relationship with your parents, is no reason to have to rush it. Now again, every situation is different. Like I told all four of my girls this: as long as, number one, you remain respectful and you're doing something with your life. So whether that means you're going to college, whether that means you get a job, like you can stay here, right? However, what I'm not gonna do, we don't take care of grown folks. Like, if you not gonna work and you not going to school and you not doing nothing to better yourself, you don't get to just be here. And I'm working twice as hard when there's nothing wrong with you and you are able body. Oh, we don't do that. Kanita said, yes, stay as long as you can. Those bills can wait. Child, you will be paying bills for the rest. Child, for the rest of your life. Okay. Like, and that's why, and I will say this with Autumn, she's always been very responsible. Like she said, from the time she was 14, she's worked with After School Matters. So every year she was working with them in some capacity. And I started teaching her at an early age about the importance of saving your money and not living check to check, right? Like, because I explained to her, if you can't save now when you don't have responsibilities, you don't just become a certain age and now you know how to manage money. Now I'm like, do you understand? Like, for some years I used to be a personal banker with Chase. I said, do you understand how many clients I had that was like grown? I'm talking about 30, 40s, 50s, did not know how to manage their money, was still living check to check, had an abundance of overflow, and still did not know how to manage their money. So it doesn't just come with a particular age. Now I'm 25, so boom, I automatically know how to. It don't work that way. And so, from the time she was old enough to have a bank account, the time she was old enough to know about saving, I try to teach her about a millionaire mindset or mogul mindset, right? Like, a lot of millionaires, they only live off 50% of what they make, right? So the other 50% we're saving and investing. That's it. Now, in today's time, for many of us, that may not be realistic, y'all. And I'm getting a little bit off of subject, but I'm gonna get back on there. That may not be realistic for many people because depending on what your debt to income ratio is, then it may not be plausible for you to be able. So, say you make $2,000 a month, but if your rent is $1,600, then obviously that right there lets you know that you're not going to be able to just live off of half of what you make. But the point is that I'm very proud of her, and I am confident that she will know how to live on her own. So it's not that I'm not confident in it. It just go back to what Shalonda said, like, this that bond never breaks. I don't care how old you get. I don't think that bond ever breaks. Like, for you as a parent, you always look at your child as being your baby. They can have 5 babies and grandkids of their own, but this is still your baby. Shalonda says, I'm more overprotective of my grown daughter than my baby girl. She has no street sense at all. She's one of those AirPod girl. Man, let me tell you, Shalonda, it is, and I agree that the younger people, this generation, because there are a lot of things that they just don't know because it's a different time, right? And you know what? Let me introduce that, because I think if I talk about this actually will get us into what we're talking about with today's time and today's young person and what they're dealing with. When we were growing up, now let me say this, I have to age myself to give it context. I was born, I'm 1980, so I am that borderline year. I am like, if I was born a year later, I would be considered a millennial. But technically, I'm on the, because most of the time you will see the, what is it, Generation X is described as 65, I think 1965 to 1979, or in some cases, if you look it up, they'll say 1980. So the point that I'm making is, for me, I'm borderline. And I think that's the reason why I can identify so well with both generations. Like, I get the millennials because I'm basically y'all, where I lived. I've been here long enough to know about the technological stuff, but I identify with the Generation X's because I've also been here long enough to remember when there wasn't that stuff around, right? But my point just is that being raised in the household, my parents were baby boomers. So being raised in the household, I came up under that teaching where you have to know how to take care of yourself. You have to have, you're going to be taught chores. I've been doing chores since I was like 9 years old, so you have to know how to do. The expectation is that you're growing up to be on your own. And I think nowadays, the way that children are reared is not really the same, so that the things that they're affected by in the world are different. Does that make sense?
I agree to an extent. I definitely agree there's a different standard, because I can say that because the way I grew up, my mom follows those same principles. So my parents gave us the same rules that they have. We got chores, we got to be respectful. So I know that stuff, but I can't fully blame everything on our generation because the parenting is different from what it used to be.
Absolutely.
So kids don't get whoopings no more. They're not afraid of their parents. So if you don't have that fear there, then it's like, and if you let your kids just live in your house for free and they ain't got to do nothing, you're not expecting or pushing them to be more, then it's like, I can't be fully mad at our generation for not wanting better if it's nobody at home making you want better. Like, there ain't no motivation there.
Mhm.
So
No, and I totally agree. And that's one of the things I tell y'all all the time. Like, let me tell you what we're not gonna do. And this is exactly how I talk to my kids. Let me tell you what we're not gonna do. We not finna do this whole thing where you think that I'm finna go to work the whole time and that you just finna live here scot free. No, no, no. Like, I don't mandate that they work a corporate job. I obviously, as being an entrepreneur, I encourage entrepreneurialism, right? So I don't have a problem with that. I don't mandate that they follow in my footsteps. I believe that everybody has their own purpose. So figure out your purpose, and I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will help you figure it out. But what you're not gonna do is just sit here kid walking around like confused, like you in the days, and we don't we don't do that. So, but to your point, when you talk about kids being raised differently, and I think one of those reasons is because the generations are starting earlier, right? It used to be a time where, and that's not to say, because I will say this, my grandmother, I think, was 12 or 13 when she had her first child. So it's not that teen pregnancy is something that's new, but even in her days, a 12-year-old in her time was totally different than a 12-year-old in today's time. You see them? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree, but like 12 is still 12, but it's our 12-year-olds. Not saying y'all was dumb, but we're like
this my grandma and them, not me.
I'm not saying that she was dumb, but like we got technology, so like what I knew as a 10-year-old, the 10-year-olds now way smarter than what I was. Like I was way, but that's because of technology and such. Like they know more, they see more. More is like they got more stuff being influenced. So
yeah, no, and we talk about that all the time, like how like with baby and Zach, how like when they were born, it's almost like when they were born knowing how to navigate YouTube and all of those things. At literally about a year or 2 years old, they can't talk, can't walk, but they know how to operate a phone, and so I do agree that technologically speaking, your generation is probably your generation, the ones after you, I think it's called alpha. So you guys are definitely more technologically sound. But to go back to Shalonda's point, street sense, like if we left y'all out there on the corner and told you to get back home and you didn't have a phone, most y'all would cry because you don't even know how to get back without a GPS.
Half and half, because at the same point, a lot of people like how y'all take us to school every day. And that's why I say it's y'all fault we don't know our directions, because y'all didn't make us have to know that, because y'all took us every day. But I know a lot of my friends and stuff, they know their directions because their parents forced them to get on the bus, so they had to learn it.
That's good.
I just didn't have to learn it, so now I'm grown and I don't know it. I just depend on my GPS and pray for the best.
That's is that bars? Depending on GPS and pray for the best. Okay. No, and you know what? I think that's 100% true as well, because for me, I didn't have my, even right now, like every day we leave at 7:45, and I have teenagers. So I got high schoolers and grammar schooler, and I take them to school every day. Because, and I would say this though, our situation is a little bit different because of the living situation. And so like just wanting to make sure that everybody maintains stability. Because for me, yes, I could have transferred my children, but I chose not to transfer them. Well, actually, I allowed them the choice. Did you guys want to transfer, or did you want to stay at your school that you've always been at? And you guys chose to do that. So for me, I wanted to honor that and allow y'all that sense of stability. Shalana say her children don't know about the bus. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think certain things help in shielding you, but then I think that certain things hurt in shielding you, because you don't really have to know, so that when you finally hit it, it's like
I'll do it.
And that no matter what that it is. But now, again, let's go back to the whole concept of social justice. Social justice, talking about racism, dealing with discrimination on any level, right? Earlier, you and I were kind of talking, but not a deep conversation. And I was just saying how with your generation, you guys seem to be a lot more accepting of things, right? So, and when I say that, we were specifically talking about the LGBTQIA generation, right? Or culture. I'll say that word, culture. Like, it's not, and this is not to say, I know that culture or those individuals are still heavily discriminated against. So I'm not trying to make light of it. But what I am saying is at a point that culture was looked at the same way that if you had an interracial couple, or the same way that Black people were treated, like, it was just like that's how we, and people older than me, so millennials, Generation X's, it is kind of, but with you all, you all seem to be a little bit more accepting. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Our generation is more open-minded when it comes to those things. So like a lot of that is in part because a lot of my friends will say like that don't apply to it's a new generation. You can do new things, so it's just a different mindset.
So, do you feel like when it comes to discrimination and racism, is that still something that you guys are faced with, or do you feel like it's a issue of old?
No, no, it still exists. That's no, it still exists. Like, I know, especially at work, I got a lot of male employees or whatever. They're still afraid to like get pulled over by police. They feel like their life is still at risk.
Mhm.
So that discrimination and stuff is still there. They just make more jokes about it, I guess. Like almost in the I don't care type of thing because life is too short anyway, especially with the rioting and all the other lives that's been going down with police violence. So, but the discrimination is still there. It's more bold if you ask me. So,
So, like, how do you all, like, do you all look to, and when I say you all, whether we're talking about you and your friends specifically or just within your generation, like, is there a thing where you all believe in protesting and doing things like how it was back in the days of Martin Luther King, where we would boycott and we would do sit-ins and do all those things to affect change? Or why are you looking like that? Those are things that
because
actually happen.
no, there's no, not, I'm not laughing at what you said. It's just something they said at work. This guy he was at work. He was like, "If I ever gotta go do something, ain't no more fist fighting. This is 2020. This is 2021. We don't do that anymore. It's just guns." So it's sad, but like
It's very sad.
that's what it made me think of when you said that. So
I mean, but that actually addresses that speaks to the
yeah, that's
question.
why.
But I guess I'm trying to figure out, it must have just been funny his delivery, because I'm trying to figure out why is that
Yeah, the way you said.
funny, like, because here's the difference between generations. It's like with you all's generation there is no value of life.
That's
in
very
the
true.
in the generation of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and so 60s 70s things like that, it was a such thing as peaceful. And yes, we understand, before somebody hit me up with Malcolm X and saying any means necessary, but even with that, it was still an order to it. It was like it had to resort to violence. Like nowadays, this generation, you guys just come out with guns. You just come out expecting that the end result is going to be death. So it's like, go ahead and speak to
I
that.
said, oh, you said speak to it.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I guess after the crack era or whatever, because I wasn't in that era, but I feel like that's when a whole lot of change came in because our people as a whole were more divided. We're not as united as we used to be, like with Martin Luther King and all those times. We're not as united. Us as a generation, we're like all divided. We go against each other more. So I guess once you had crack and stuff come in, that brought division, and once more laws and stuff got to put into place with the guns and stuff, it just brought more chaos amongst ourselves. So and I guess that's why we're here.
So you know what I heard was, it sounds like your generation lacks leadership, right?
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, even when you're talking about like the days of the Panthers, right? The Black Panthers, you had a leader who organized them. Martin Luther King was a leader who organized them. Malcolm X, a leader who organized those people. And I think that one of the things that may be happening is that you have younger people who are coming in, because so many of the older patriarchs are dying out, right? Like when you look at the different people, and even if they're not dying out, they're in their 70s and 80s if they're still alive. So many of them don't have the ability to take the lead like they once did. And so you need other people to kind of pass the baton to, right? But it's like nowadays the younger generation, like you just said, they're not really looking to protests there. And so I'm not talking about millennials. So we know about the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not talking about millennials. I'm talking about 21 and under. So like the what I forgot what y'all generation is called. I gotta find it. But I think you guys like Generation Z maybe, or I'll figure it out. But in either case, the point is like your generation and younger, you guys are not really looking to do because this is considered old school approach. Do you agree with that?
Right.
So how do you what do you see? I know that you don't necessarily, there isn't a right answer to these questions.
Right.
We're just dialoguing. But what do you see if the old school approaches were marching and protests and sit-ins to try to affect social change in a positive way? And the new school mentality seems to be we gonna shoot and kill everybody because we rather take your life than you take our life. Like if we keep on doing that, right? What was that quote, y'all, about everybody being blind? Eye for an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind, right? That was a quote, and I want to say it was Gandhi that quoted that, but it's an eye for an eye leaves everybody blind. So if we have a generation where it's like I'm gonna kill you before you can kill me, how does that help the world holistically get to a better place?
It don't help the world holistically, and specifically again with our people, it makes other ethnicities job easier because racism and stuff it still exists. So now they don't have to do anything because we're doing everything for them. So the world itself, it don't make it easier, better. I mean, it's just I guess deleting. I don't want to say deleting, but getting rid of our people. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll ask you this. If you, let's say, I don't even want to say you were president of the United States because there are different powers that we can have within our own communities. It
That's
don't
true.
have to always just be
Leading
leading the
to yeah.
absolutely. So what is something if you had the power to change, what's one thing that you feel that desperately needs to be changed?
I don't have the power for right now, but I think the homelessness. I feel like there's I just feel like Chicago specifically we could do a whole lot better because the money that you have to pay for tickets, for parking, for eating, taxes, I feel like that could go towards homelessness or something. Like I feel like we see way too many homeless people on a daily basis. I feel like more jobs or something could be created to help these people out. I'm not saying that there aren't bad people who put themselves in that situation, but everybody everybody's not like that. Some people just fail on hard times, and I just feel like they deserve a second chance. So for me, from time to time, if I have it, then yeah, I'll give it to them because why not? But yeah,
And let me ask one further question. What do you think solving the problem of homelessness would do? What change do you think would be made by solving the problem of homelessness?
I don't want to. What is it? I feel like we it would just start to bring some unitedness, I guess, because our people don't trust each other. Like I feel like y'all had that too. That's the difference. Like how y'all knew y'all neighbors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't communicate like that. Like we're afraid to talk to each other because you might shoot me just because I said hi or because I'm trying to let you know something. So we're not willing to take that risk. We're not doing it. So I feel like if we help the homelessness out, they don't know me, I don't know them, but I'm willing to help you and make that move, then it's like building that bond or reestablishing trust or something. So yeah.
I like that. I like that answer because that is definitely true. And I used to tell them stories of how when I grew up, like everybody on the block, the whole neighborhood knew each other, right? Like I knew literally my neighbors to the left of us, right of us, across the street, down the street, like, and there was just a true sense of it takes a village to raise a child. So anybody, and literally we had a Miss Johnson, a Miss Jackson, a Miss Moore. We had all of these people that was on the block and you respected everybody because that's what you were taught to do. We were raised in a time of yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. You didn't say huh or what to adults. You just she laughing because they like because nowadays that's all like somebody call huh. Like this, I'm trying to tell y'all some stories we don't talk because I remember the first time I said huh to my dad. He said, "What did you say to me?" I was watching. I got sir, like, and it's so crazy because even nowadays, and any of you who know me on a personal level, when I speak to you guys, how do I speak to you? Hey, ma'am, how you doing? Hello, ma'am. That's what I say. Hello, sir. Like that's just in me to do. It has nothing to do with a reflection of age, whether you're older than me or younger than me. It's just a symbol of respect, ma'am and sir. It's a symbol of respect. And I feel that it's so sad in our day and time that people take what used to be a sign of respect as being disrespectful. I've had many people tell me, "Don't call me ma'am. I'm not that old."
It's not. Yeah, it just make you feel older. Like when you call, like if somebody was to call me
Ma'am.
like ma'am,
But I say ma'am to y'all all the time, but you don't listen because it's me.
No, or say even if like if somebody younger, like if Crybaby or one of their younger friends called me Miss Jackson, what? Don't call me that. Like
Call me
by my name. Like that's like in a different culture, like in Japanese specifically. That's stuff that they do. Like it's rude if you call them by their first name because you don't know them like that. Like you have to work your way up to that, but that's not our culture. So it's like,
but see, it's not our culture now because once upon a time, like I tell y'all, when you like, and you are 18, 19 or whatever, now, not now you're 19. I'm saying at the time when we told you this, I remember when you started working the job that you're working now, and I would say you call her Miss Marsha. Like even if you have, because I tell Angel the same thing. Like they have adults. So I'm talking about they grown, telling my children to call them by their first name. No. We don't do that in these parts. You call them Miss whatever. So even if they don't want you to call them by last name, Miss Marsha, Mr. Pierre, Miss whoever, like that's just a sign of respect. And so for me, I am adamant on the fact that those things are just not going. You can't tell me that morals and values expire. Respect should never be something that goes out of style. But I think what the point that you guys are making is not necessarily that respect itself went out of it, but it's like, how we show it.
Yeah, like it's just you wouldn't call me like that just for saying rules. Don't call me. Why are you calling me Miss? Unless you're an adult, like a teacher or something, because they do that.
Miss Jackson, answer the question.
Yeah. Okay. So teachers and stuff. But if you my age or younger, unless that's just how we communicate, like that's how a friendship is established. Why are you calling me Miss? Like it just don't go to me. Like that's for older folks. Like.
Well, Shalonda says to Neil, Autumn is so mature for her age. Great job as her mom. Thank you, ma'am. I tries. I'm loving this discussion. Awesome follow-up from yesterday. Thank you so much. She says, in her generation, your neighbors could discipline you. What you said, look, everybody that is watching this, whether you watch this live or on the replay, chime in and tell me what was your experience coming up. Like what year or what decade are you from, and what was it like? Because again, my generation, anybody could whoop you. And here's the thing, if somebody other than your parents whoop you, you were gonna get two whoopings because they were gonna whoop you. And the fact that somebody had to whoop you ensured that your parents were gonna whoop you by the time you made it home. That's just how it was. Then you see, I didn't read her whole thing. And she said the same thing. She said, once you got home, you got it again. Absolutely. And so in either case, I just think, I think that is necessary to have dialogue. And anybody that knows me knows that I am huge on dialogue, right? Like it's okay if we disagree. We don't always have to have, because everybody is a different person, right? So we have different experiences that we bring into the table. We have different circumstances, the way that we were raised, cultures, all of those things. But I feel like that it all starts with a conversation.
I agree with that because I can't know if you don't tell me. Like I'm not a mind reader. And then if you leave it to my device and if I assume things, that just make things worse. So you gotta communicate.
Absolutely. Because a lot of times what happened is if you leave it for me to guess, I'm using my context, right?
Yeah.
So like if we got totally different, and I don't care what this is that it is that we're discussing. So yesterday to reference what, hey B, to reference what Shalonda was saying, we were talking about relationships yesterday. So whether you're talking about in the context of relationship, whether you're talking about teachers, you talked about teachers. So whether you're talking about parental or just friends or even people you don't know, like you don't know what another person, the way that another person thinks. And so when you don't clarify, then now you expect for them to be able to put two and two together. And the way that I put two and two together may be so drastically different than how you would put it together. And what you were implying might be a whole nother something than the conclusion that I reached, because I'm drawing a conclusion based off of my experiences. Because normally if somebody say this to me, this is what they mean. But you ain't that somebody. So that might not be, it might not even cross your mind that way. So again, guys, like for those of you who are just tuning in, this is a special episode of Educated and Empowered. Normally I air Educated and Empowered on Fridays, but this Friday I will not be going live. And so the topic that we were going to talk about, we normally have a parenting edition, and Autumn was going to be my guest on Friday. So she came in today so that we could do it live for you guys today. And we've just kind of been talking about being a young adult, because last month Jariah was here and she kind of talked about parenting. We looked at parenting from a teenage perspective, right? So and she a fresh teenager, man, 13, you know, but she brought a great perspective from her, you know, from her age group. She really brought in some great insight. And so today I want to go a little bit deeper or different, dealing with what it is to parent a young adult, right? Because in many cities, depending on where you are in the world, it could be a very scary thing to parent a young adult, especially if they are of a certain ethnicity, especially if they are a certain gender. It can be scary. So can I just, y'all know I'll be transparent. What I mean is, if you raising Black kids, and especially if you raising Black boys, it can be a lot scarier, because Autumn kind of mentioned it, when you're dealing with the police. It's a lot of things that's going on, but raising Black children is still the same situation. And what she brought in was really good, because she said that a lot of times we're doing it to ourselves. So it doesn't even take outsiders to do it. And it's crazy because she does not know this, but in the book that I'm working on, Being a Black Man is Harder Than You Think, one of the things that I say is, how is it even fair for us to be angry at society for treating us a certain way when we do it to ourselves?
Yes
Go
and
ahead.
no. Yes and no.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like society put some of these stereotypes on us to begin with. And what happened was we kind of embraced it. So I feel like, yes, we can be mad at society because they're the one who established it, like they initiated this stereotype. But we also have to be mad at ourselves because nobody told us or made us embrace. Yeah, nobody told us to do that. We just fell into it, and we didn't step. We haven't stepped away from it. So
Yeah, no, I totally get it. B says it's constantly rough. Kanita says, I was born in 79. Other people could spank us. Then you got it when you see. I'm trying to tell you, this ain't just your mama just telling you this. Like, this is just how it was. That because what respect looked like was different then than it is now. Like, what would you say for you all? What does respect look like for you all?
like towards an older person.
No, I mean, even just either amongst each other or from adult to child, what does respect look like, whether it's showing it or giving it?
Well, I think it's kind of not fair to ask me because, like I said, I grew up with my parents. So to me, respect, it's a certain way you're supposed to talk to people. Like older people, you're not supposed to like yell. Definitely can't yell, like raise your voice, like
deaf can't, as y'all would say that, right?
That's y'all do that. So like when I have parents, like kids tell their parents, I'm not gonna do it. You can say that to your parents, like
you still your mouth still intact. Sorry,
Like-
carry on. Girl, you just made me happy. Go ahead.
So like when like I hear people, I told my mom I'm not doing. You told your mama what you gonna do?
Who told that? Girl, let's change it to something else because I'm getting mad just thinking about these types of things. 'Cause I wish one of y'all would say, I done told you. You told me. Like, hold on. It just made me have a flashback. So Jariah, this was before she turned 13. She had this bag. Her whole little 12 year, her year 12. She had this bag. Mama, I told you I was. I need you to start that sentence over. You started off wrong. You did what? You and she didn't get it. So you told me. Don't you see right there? Let's stop. We got to regroup because that's the whole problem. You don't tell me, no, you 12. You meant to say you want to ask me if go ahead, complete the sentence. So I don't get it when I hear like when I be hearing these kids yell, and then I'm looking to see who is the other kid that they're yelling at. And when like a parent or a grandparent or auntie or somebody come from out the oh, okay, I'm sorry. But go ahead, carry on because I just had some flashbacks. Girl, go ahead.
So like, well, even like with little kids now, like how they'll tell older kids, "Come here, huh?" This it's a generational thing. Like this already done been established. If you younger than me, you can't tell me to come here. If you need my help, you gotta come to me. What type of mess is that? Like this already, I didn't build. This is a built-in thing in our generation. It's rules to this. You cannot just come up in here trying to change things around like.
Because I remember even teach y'all that when you enter the room, it's your job to speak first because I was already here. That's true. So there are certain things that's like it's just etiquette, is rules of I mean, because when you think about etiquette, that's all it is. It's just social rules, right? And I think in a nutshell, the generations beyond me, and I would even say the younger millennials. So before you, then your generation, then those after you guys, there's a different set of rules that's being taught. And I think a lot of that again is because you have parents or people becoming parents at such a young age that they prefer to be the friend of their child instead of the parent of their child. So they're telling their kid, call me by, you don't have to call me mama, you can call me by my first name. Where they do that?
I say you got mad at me for years, like, cause I would do that. I didn't call her name. I just wrote her name on the Christmas card.
Oh no, I'm sorry, cause I got to. She would write. Go ahead. Just
so on the Christmas card, cause we ain't have money, so we had to make cards. So every year for like I'm gonna say for like a good.
So she was like, you was like 9 or 10.
I would put to Tennille from Autumn, and every year she.
Who is Tennille? And why do you keep putting her name on this card? You mean to mama? Like it just canceled the whole. It was a beautiful sentiment because when your babies make your little cards and stuff, she started making cards. She's like 5 years old, but she was the only one. And that's the thing. All the other sisters, to mom, to mommy. She come out.
Took everything else to say.
To Tennille. Who? But here's the thing, like she presents, she say, here's my card, mommy, a happy Mother's Day, a happy birthday, or Merry Christmas. Because they always made my cards and stuff year round. Here it is. And she would address me as mommy when she's giving it to me. So I was just wondering where the disconnect went, because you knew my name was mommy when you gave it to me. But when you wrote the card, but I mean, at least I knew she knew how to spell my name, but it just.
Yeah, because spelling ain't my strong suit. And some people's name when I was little, they didn't get their name spelled right.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell her. Shalonda say my mom would put you out if you walked in her house and didn't speak. Baby, let me see, I'll just stare people.
That's another bad habit I used to have. My mom would get mad at me because I would call people. I don't normally say hello if I'm calling you first. I don't. It's weird to me. Like, what am I saying hello first for? I don't already called you. I initiated the call. That's me saying hello right there.
No, when you come in here, hey, then we just say, hey, you ain't even got to have no further
on the phone. Like,
so when you call somebody,
I'm trying to tell you what I need. I'm like, can you, and mama overheard me a few times, you gonna
say hello? How do you just call somebody? Y'all, this whole show done took a left turn. I'm so sorry. But how do you call somebody? You don't say hello, because our sister Angel got this real bad. Angel text me, can you get I need blah blah blah. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. Can we get the preface to the conversation? Like, I know you finna ask me for something. Go ahead.
No, but especially if I'm texting, what am I texting you hello for?
Because you okay, can I tell y'all something? See, this is a whole generational gap here. Can I tell y'all something? B is watching it, and I will text B, hello, sir. I don't just jump into and say, this is what I need. What's been going on? You start off, you greet people. I don't care if you're on the phone, you texting, you come to their house. If you reach out to somebody first, when somebody, you got the phone, you dial the number, you hold the phone. Hello. Oh, hello. How you doing? I'm fine. Then you go into favor mode or whatever it is you finna do. Kanita said, if I call my mom or dad by their first name, I'm not sure I will be here today. Child, I'm trying to tell y'all don't even understand how it, but this is all I'm saying, y'all. It's just different because for us, these things imply respect. They were synonymous with respect. But with this generation and younger, my point is, I don't necessarily think that they mean to be disrespectful. It's just that the rules of etiquette have changed.
Yeah, we just look at it differently. Like, I started to now when I answer the phone and I text people, I'll say hey or hello or something. But that's just because she kept getting on me every time. Are you gonna ever answer the phone the right way? Because I remember, I think I was telling Auntie Mary, and I was trying to tell her something. I'm like, yeah, are you gonna say hello? Don't just don't jump into a conversation. They don't know what you're talking about.
We don't do
they don't know
like
what
that.
I'm talking about. I'm trying to.
We don't. Peanut, come here. You come on over for real quick. We talking about the whole respect factor, and we was talking about how when you first come to somebody's house, etiquette say what? Speak. See, this what I'm saying. So go ahead and you come on back now. But look, this is all I'm trying to tell y'all. This is how the point that I'm saying, because we make it light, but the point that I'm making is that if you don't have dialogue, right, then the point is that I would judge her if she was not my child and she did not speak coming in, but my generation say that you do. I'm automatically writing her off as being rude and disrespectful.
Well, that's the one thing I did do right, because between mama and both of them, they just hated that. I just don't understand. I'm like, Dig, like, you can if it's bothering you that bad, can't you speak to me first?
No, I was already here. But go ahead.
Hey, don't you see me in here? Do I look like a potato to you? You can say something. Okay, excuse me. You could have said something too. Both of our mouths work, but hey, I can't. You right. I came in the room first, so I'll speak.
But this is the point that I'm making, y'all. Let me get to the point. The ultimate point is this: we're making light of conversation, with conversational etiquette. But the point that I'm making goes beyond that, which is this: unless somebody takes the time to have a conversation, you don't truly understand the other person. You're trying to understand them in your terms, as opposed to sitting down and saying, oh, I noticed that every time you come in, you never speak. Why do you constantly for me, this seems like disrespect. And then she would say, well, I wasn't intending on being disrespectful. I just didn't see that. And so if a person cares, then what she's going to do, now that she knows that this is something that I consider to be disrespectful, what she's going to do is start to speak. So that way it's not creating a sense of disrespect. Right. And so I feel that could be dialogue will solve a lot of problems. Again, it's a smaller level, but it's the same difference. If we could start getting people to dialogue about various issues at large, social issues, social justice, about political issues, just because we don't agree does not mean that there is not a way that we can come together and respect one
That's
another.
very true.
I don't have to agree everything that you say. I don't have to want to do everything that you propose, but it doesn't mean that we have to hate each other. It doesn't mean that we have to be on opposite sides of you. You understand what I'm saying? So we ain't gotta, I don't have to have racial slurs towards you. I don't have to be discriminatory, because what I've learned too is that many times people are afraid, they fear what they don't know. And the reason why they don't know is because they don't talk about it. Because again, if you guys look at a lot of these different documentaries, especially if we're talking about racial differences, many times it's the fact that white people or other ethnicities don't understand us because they don't take the time to talk to Black people, and vice versa. We're just taught this is how Black people are. This is how white people are. And so without ever talking to a white person, in your mind, because this is what you've been taught, you just automatically assume when I see white people, this is what they think about me. But you never took the time to talk to that specific white person. When I see a police officer, I automatically think, but we never take the time. So y'all see where I'm going with this. So in either case, Shalonda says that we couldn't cut. Child, Shalonda, you wasn't cussing in front of your parents. You wasn't drinking in front of your parents. You wasn't doing none of that. Like let me tell you something. I had all 4 of my children, and I told my dad, I still would joke with my dad saying, wait, sex? I don't know what that is. Like, as far as my dad, because I'm still, he in his grave, I'm still a virgin. Do you understand what I'm saying? I ain't admitting to nothing. I know that you know how babies are born, but I ain't gonna sit down and have that conversation with my father. Why would you want to have that conversation with your father? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's just not what we did. So I mean, but there are different people who got different type of relationships and different bonds, and they have, but that just wasn't my testimony. So in either case, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope that you all enjoyed this broadcast. And again, y'all see that I am wearing another Educated and Empowered shirt. There's no reason not to know. She will next time y'all see her, she'll have one on. But if you guys like the Educated and Empowered t-shirts, again, they come in a lot of different colors. And so you can go to our online store, and I'm going to try my best to type. Y'all know that I don't type and talk at the same time. But y'all can go to IamEducatedAndEmpowered.com, and then you can see all the various, not just t-shirts, because we have a lot of different merchandise as well. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we got joggers, we got leggings, we got cups, masks, mugs. We kind of got a whole lot of different stuff. So again, I didn't hit everything in capital letters, but that's okay. It's the same difference. So go to IamEducatedAndEmpowered.com. You
didn't press space on the thing. Now they're gonna have to copy and paste.
Space for what? That's okay. No, when it lights up after this, it'll already be hyperlinked. So it's okay. And Shalonda said that you were awesome.
Thank you.
Yay. So y'all, okay. So again, visit the I Am Educated and Empowered to get your apparel. And if y'all get whatever it is, take a picture of it for me. Please take a picture and tag me on whatever social media, whether you are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like take a picture of it and then hit me up at Educated and Empowered, and I will post you the same way that I did Marquita. I appreciate all of you all support. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the broadcast. If I am live any of the rest of this week, it's going to be totally random because I am actually prepping for this Woman Evolve conference that is in Dallas, Texas this weekend. So I'm totally stoked about that. Just waiting to see the mighty move of God. But I thank y'all so much for all that you do. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the conversation, then do me a favor and tag somebody that you believe will benefit from this broadcast. And you can also take a quick second and hit that share button. Thank you all so much. And until next time, you guys stay inspired.